Blog Talk Radio. Welcome to Within the Chaos with your host,
Rodney Shortridge,
and co-host,
Robin Dalton.
Well, good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us tonight. You can listen in by going to blogtalkradio.com/Within the Chaos, or to listen in by using your little cell phone or rotary phone, or whatever phone you got. 323-870-4197. You can also call in to ask any questions to our guests at the same number at 323-870-4197. From deep within the heart of the Appalachian Mountains, I was a drawn out mountain. I'd like to welcome everyone and thank you all for listening to Within the Chaos. My name is Rodney Shortridge, and I'll be your host tonight, along with my fiery redhead co-host, Robin Dalton.
Hey, y'all.
Tonight, our special guest is Steve Long. Steve is a researcher of magnetricity and hidden technologies. I'd like to give a shout out to my grandson, Hoss. He celebrated his third birthday on the 10th. Tell him Pop loves a little booger. And I also like to give a big old country shout out to my cousins up there in Ohio, Jennifer and Joe Shortridge of 222 Paranormal. Y'all get a chance to check them out on their talk show. You can find them on Facebook under 222 Paranormal. So, Robin, how was your week?
My week has been long and exhausting as usual, but pretty good. Found out that I will be having a grandson in August.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you. So, my main concern is you right now. So, how are you?
I was okay. I could still kick a little bit. That's all that matters.
Okay.
What she's talking about, I got a little sick today and had to go to the doctor. And she's all upset about that, but it's all right. Nothing that little weed can't take care of. I know you can hear me light that up, but it's actually a cigarette. But I was trying to take people out with the weed thing. I'm saying, yo man, how you doing? Yeah, the fat boy's feeling good. Well, I'm waiting for our guest to ring a dang us so we can get him on here and start asking him some of these magnificent questions I worked on forever. This is a topic that it took a little bit of research, a little bit of digging, and I hope I got some good questions for him because I hate to ask him something and be like, yeah, you're a dumbass, Rod. What kind of question is that? But
Lordy.
I think he's a little late. What have you been doing? Just working again?
Yeah, I have this pay period so far, and I've still got, more to go, more days. I already have 142 hours.
Well, when you get paid, you can slide some of that in my bank account. I surely won't mind take some of that off of your hands.
Well, actually, some of it is going into our bank account for Black Diamonds and within the chaos. So you got something that way, thank you.
It's that time of the year. Due money time. I got to pay mine too. Shit. Well, let me see if I can get him to tell him that we're ready. We are ready.
Yes, people. He does that every time he types.
Buddy. Yeah, I do. I talk what I type, or type what I talk, something like that. Well, since we don't have, I guess I'll sit here and look at my Facebook messages.
Knowing you've only got a son, you know everybody.
No. I don't know everybody. It's everybody knows.
It don't matter where we're at. You know at least two people wherever we've been.
I know. That's what surprises me, especially some places we've been, and I'm like, what the hell are they doing down here? Why the hell are they here? Yeah. They're from there. Why are they here? And then they're looking at me and going, why are you here? I'm like, well, I'm here for the same reason, man. They got the best weed here. They got the best alcohol.
Maybe if you did take up smoking weed, you'd be more chillax sometimes.
I think that's true. I actually had my nurse practitioner tell me one time, she's like, Rod, you could smoke some weed, chill down a little bit. You know that, right? I'm like, yeah. She's like, well, you might really need to consider that. I said, can you write me a prescription for it?
Not
She's
yet,
like,
but
no.
it's coming soon.
No, you can't do that in the state of Virginia. I hope our guest ain't got cold feet.
Or forgot about us. That would suck.
Well, I sent him a message earlier today. because I always like to remind everybody. It was around 3 o'clock. I told him to call about 5 after 10. And it is 10 after 10. He's 5 minutes late. Lord have mercy, God. He is tardy. Do we write out slips for tardiness?
Hopefully not us. Our crew's never on time.
Yeah, true. I have to schedule a meeting sometimes 2 hours before when you want people there on time. Yeah, we're going to have a meeting at 12 o'clock. Then, everybody be there by 2 o'clock.
Yeah, because you ain't going to get everybody there if you don't.
Got to have a little wiggle room. Well, I always had that little wiggle room about 30 minutes. I'm like, okay, I know most people, they're a little late, 30 minutes will be due. But then at one time, one person was late 2.5 hours. I'm like, yeah, that's way too much wiggle room.
That wasn't no wiggle room.
That was.
That definitely wasn't no wiggle room.
And it's so hard to have a meeting when somebody pissed you off that bad, waiting for them, because a lot of the meeting has to involve them too, and what they're working on and their opinions and stuff. It really takes the fun out of the meeting.
I know.
They come in, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. And you're like, yeah, I just want to kick you right in the damn shins and, let you feel the pain I feel right now.
Have I ever pissed you off like that?
Have you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you've done it quite a few times. Pissed me off like that.
You want the shins?
Well, I wouldn't kick you in the shins. Just makes me want to strangle the shit out of you.
I don't want to.
It's like it's murder. I'm going to commit murder.
Well, you done pretty good not killing me in 8.5 years.
It's because I use my inner self-control. I control.
No, you love me.
I control the anger. Well, yeah, but I control the anger. I control the beast within. Sometimes I don't. It's just like earlier, before the show, Lee was saying something about some lady on TV. I'm like, who are you talking about? She says the woman's name again. I'm like, I don't know who that is. So she says the song that she sings. I'm like, I don't know that song. Who is the lady? And she says the lady's name again. And I'm like, oh my God, can you not just point the fucking woman out on TV? Instead of saying her name, I don't know who the fuck she is. Like, Jesus Christ.
Now, Rob, you're supposed to be staying calm.
That's what I told her. That's what I'm thinking. Okay, I'm supposed to be calm. You can't say the woman in the white dress with the red polka dot skirt, or the lady in the black top and the black pants, or the lady sitting in the corner kicking the cat. I mean, you couldn't tell me that. God. No, you just keep saying the name. I have no idea who you're talking about. I'm like, oh my God.
Kind of like me trying to give directions, I reckon.
I've heard you give directions. You don't really give directions. You just kind of Rod. If I'm around, it's always Rod. Tell me where to go. And I'm like, well, if you got a phone, Google Map that shit.
Yeah, but eventually, and sometimes we have been in places where Google Maps don't work.
Exactly. And then you have to listen to that. Well, you come to a fork in the road, and mind you, this road is either A, gravel road, or B, a dirt road with big old potholes in it? And she says, well, they live on the hill. Well, do they live to the left of the hill, or do they live to the right? How do we get up there? I don't know. Do you have phone signal? No. Well, it looks like they might go around here to the right, so we'll go to the right. No, the right is never the right way. Always take the left. Yeah. We've been in some tight places. I'm just sitting here going, oh, Lord, have mercy. I'm going to drag everything out of this van. Oh, God.
We don't go on Saturday.
Yeah. That's exactly what I was describing. Well, it's the truth. I mean, how many times, people, we don't charge anything to go on these investigations, but, if I rip out the whole suspension on my van, I might have to consider it.
So when people find out what I do, they're like, how much money y'all make? I'm like, we don't make no damn money. What are you talking about?
I know, it tickles me. Oh, that must be, y'all make good money, don't you? I'm like, good? No, don't make nothing. You do this for free? Yeah. Well, hell, I know some shit y'all need to go to. I got some stuff going on. Oh, now you know it's free. You got some shit going on. Okay.
That's the first thing I have people tell me. Oh, you have to come to my house.
That's right. You don't charge. You come to my house then. I wonder if I start telling everybody, well, we charge $1,000 a home. Oh, Lord, dude, that you ripping people off. You scamming people.
Yeah, then it'd be like, there's no such thing.
Yeah, there's no such thing as ghosts, spirits. What are you talking about? There ain't no demons. And then they go home and they're listening to that shit scratching at their damn bottom of the bed. They're going, Lord, it's only $1,000. How are we going to come up with that kind of money? We got to get that fucker some money. I can't take it no more. What if you take a bag? What if you take a bag of weed and a case of damn Coke 45? Be like, we're there.
Yeah, people, you'd be surprised when you accept the donations.
Yeah.
Hell, we accept office furniture, office supplies, gas cards,
sexual favors.
Okay, that was Rodney. Robin never accepts that.
Don't let her lie to you, people. She has. Mm-hmm. But like, Robin, I really want to do that. I really wanted that case right there. Do what you got to do. And then she comes out spitting in the damn yard. I'm like, well, did you get it? Yeah, I got it all right.
He's just kidding, y'all. He would not pimp me out.
Lord, no. Should be looking at me going, the next one's yours. I'll be like, okay. Time to renegotiate that. Well, I'm sorry, people, that he hasn't called in yet. I've sent him a message, and he might be a little radio shy. Let me send him one also on his LinkedIn page. We are ready for you. Black. If you don't come on, I guess you just get to listen. I guess you just get to listen to us for a little bit. Or we'll just I'll get on the phone and see if I can call people and see if I can say, hey, y'all want to come on the show?
Like, hey, y'all miss us?
Yeah. Hey, so how you doing tonight? Who is this? Don't make a damn who this is. Just talk to me.
Make some
You ever have you ever have that happen back in the day?
Yeah. I've actually had it here currently. People calling to be the wrong number, and they're like, well, hey, how are you?
Yeah. I used to do that a lot when I was growing up. Just dial a random number. Oh, sorry, we don't have nobody but Tommy that lives here. I'm like, well, how you doing? I'm doing all right. Do I know you? I'm like, no, I don't know you. Well, why are you talking to me? Well, because you sound friendly. Nothing like a friendly voice to make the day move faster.
Did you see where I read the other day where somebody has sent a text message to the wrong number about somebody having a baby, saying, "Oh, the baby's coming, she's about to push," and it was to the wrong number, but they talked to him anyway, and they sent a message back and said, "Well, we don't know who you are, but congratulations," and was asking about the baby, and the people actually went to the hospital and took him a gift.
Wow. That's awesome. That is
cool.
Awesome.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Let's see if we got any paranormal news of 2017. Let's Google some shit to talk about. Let's see here. Unexplained mysteries. UFO. Well, we talk about UFOs and unexplained mysteries a lot. I can talk about some of our guests we got coming up. Oh my gosh, I've got this. Oh Lord, we're already booked up going into May. Oh my gosh, let's see here. Next week we're going to have Brian Forrester on. He's going to be talking about the Incas and these big ass ruins down in Peru.
That's going to be awesome.
Yeah. I was so excited to talk to him. I was like a little schoolgirl, talking to a crush for the first time. I was like, "Oh, hello, Mr. Foster. How you doing? Oh, yeah, like he wasn't married. And I'll be damned if I ain't got more people coming on like that. I got Brian Lacey going to be coming on, and my daughter, Dakota Shortridge. She's going to be coming on talking about her book that she wrote.
So proud of her.
Then we're going to have Gail and a friend of hers. I don't have her name wrote down here, but they two Bigfoot women up in New York area. And then Michael Huntington and Marcus Campbell. Now he's into the tarot cards and telling fortunes and all that good stuff. And then in April, we hopefully have Philip Mantle, which he's a big UFO researcher. We're supposed to do an interview with him in the morning and do a pre-recorded show because he lives across the pond in England. And when I asked him to come on the show, he's like, "Well, what time is your show air?" I said, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. He's like, "Do you realize that's like 3 a.m. England time?" I'm like, I do now. And he's like, "I ain't getting up at no 3 o'clock in the morning to do a radio show." And I'm like, "Well, there's other ways we could do this. We could pre-record it." And he's like, "Okay, good." But past two times we've set up to do an interview with him, he forgot me. And two, his daughter's car broke down. He had to go rescue her. They were going to have the young Jake. Is his name Fife? F-I-F-E? Is that how you pronounce it? Fife?
Fife.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, we're going to have Jake Fife on. He's a big young paranormal investigator coming up. Then we're going to have Stephen Miller. he's another big researcher into the Egyptian, the pharaohs and the pyramids and all that good stuff. And then, guess who else I got coming on after? Oh, you're gonna be so happy! It's the sex queen It's the sex queen herself, Rebecca Hassel, Dr. Hassel.
Hi. I love her. She's so awesome.
I know. Her shows are always, you just never know what you're going to get. And we're going to be talking about love.
Oh.
Uh-huh. And then we got a witch going to come on. And I said witch, not bitch. Maggie White. She's going to be telling us about all kinds of shit. She's doing some readings for me last night. She asked me, did I want to have readings? And I'm not one to want to have a reading, but I'm always curious of what they do have to say, but I don't want to give them any information. So she told me, she said, give me one word. I gave her one word. And that one word turned out to be like a 3-hour conversation. And I'm like, well, she knows how to start up a conversation. But she did tell me that I have a deity. It's a female deity that watches over me, and she's not happy about how women in my life have been treating me. And I'm like, oh. I said, anybody in particular? And she said, oh, yes. She's like, and she even gave me a name. And I'm like, oh, I know her. And I said, what has she done? She's like, she went into telling me all this. And I'm like, oh, yep, that's true. That's true. Oh, Lord. I'm like, wait till I tell her. No, she's been a very bad girl.
Do I know this person?
I bet you do. You know him too. And said, my deity's about ready to stick her foot up in her ass. And I'm like, what? They do that? She's like, yeah. She's like, your deity is not happy with how you've been treated, and shit's got to change. And I'm like, oh, people going to love this. I'm like, I'll be sure to let them know that they've been watched.
Lord. Dear Lord.
I know. I love the people we talk to, and I guess the ones we don't get to talk to.
And the ones we wish we would talk to.
Yeah, the ones we wish we could talk to. And I'm in the works of trying to get. Well, he said he'll come on, but I gotta call him. It's a special guest that we'll end up having on from the show, The Moonshiners. I told him we'll give everybody right now. But I got to call him up and so we can set up a date and everything, get him all ready to come on the show. Or is it a her?
I know.
I like how I've had people send me messages about the female guests I have on the show, and they're like, do you ever have one that's not attractive? I'm like, I said, no. Nothing but beautiful people on my show. I'm the one that's so ugly, I got to surround myself by beautiful people, so it makes me look pretty, too.
Even though you're the Sultan of Sexy.
The Sultan of Sexy. I'm going to have to wear me a damn... Well, I would, but I'm afraid since Trump's the president, I'd end up getting either A, deported, or B, shot if I wore a Arab chic-looking attire. I'd be like, it's a costume party, people. Jesus Christ, how many fat sheiks do you know? And start going, I'm like, see, look at you. I'm like, no, you skipped my damn knee, dragging me away. That wasn't a prayer. That was just me in agony, you dumbass. But I'm serious thinking about that. If I was coming, had the chic garb on and come walking down the street there in Pocahontas, how many damn guns would you think would go off and see me dancing around trying to keep from getting shot?
It's hard to tell.
And rednecks would get out there, they'd be like, oh, it's open season on anybody that has a turban on. Oh, the president said so.
Oh, have mercy.
I mean, like, people, do you realize that's racist? I don't care. You don't want your kind here. There's a travel ban. You all can't even be here. You're a terrorist. I'm like, I'm not a terrorist. I'm a white boy from Tazewell.
They don't care.
But yeah, next month we're having our yearly meeting. It's kind of like the how Daytona has the Daytona 500 NASCAR. That's their Super Bowl of the year. Well, when we have our meeting in March, that's our Super Bowl of the year. That's normally when we're sitting there for 4, 5, 6 hours trying to get everything all straightened up and ready for 2017. Sometimes everything moves really smooth, and then sometimes there's always that one or two that want to nag and bitch about the fucking details about one little project or something, and then it turns into a damn long-ass meeting.
But we really ain't had that problem in a while.
No, we haven't. No, and if he's listening, or if she's listening, or whoever, fuck y'all. Y'all made them meetings too damn long. That's the truth. I mean, how many times did you say? And another thing that pisses me off about a meeting, and if you people do this, you need to be kicked in the nuts. This pisses me off more than anything. When I go through a meeting, I like to, I got my shit all lined up. Everybody has their own little paper, and we go through together, and we discuss that one area. Let's say I'm talking to Robin about cases coming up for the year. Robin gives me all the info. Everybody else is sitting there listening. If they don't write it down and keep up with it, that's not my fault. Well, you're a dumbass. But I'll be like 3 or 4 pages into our meeting, and then 9 times out of 10, there's 1 or 2 people will be like, do you know, back here on page 1, you said this, this, and this. Now, did we agree on that? I'm like, are you fucking shitting me? Page 1? Yeah. Do you realize we're on page 5? Well, yeah, I know we're on page 5. I'm like, well, did you get anything between 1 and 5, or are you still stuck on 1? Well, I'm kind of stuck on 1. Are you shitting me? So then I have to go all the way back, messes up the whole flow of the damn the meeting. Everybody else is sitting there rolling their eyes and huffing and puffing, and then I'm getting huffing and puffing. Then we go back over it, and it's something that we've already said, yeah, we've decided upon that, and we've already moved on. Oh, I missed that. Well, what the fuck were you doing?
Yes, people, this is what we work with.
It isn't true. It's like, seriously, what were you doing 4 pages ago or 5 pages ago? Was you not hearing around?
We got such better team members now. I think this meeting will go a lot smoother.
Oh, I do too. But yeah, and then having arguments and debates over some of this stupidest little shit. I'm like, oh my God, can we not make a decision on this? I mean, it ain't like we're deciding on if somebody's going to, get the electric chair or not. We're just deciding on whether, to use blue paint or yellow paint on the wall. Jesus, people, figure it out. It's the truth.
Yeah, well, you know,
also, I don't know if any of y'all that have paranormal groups out there, but I'm sure you all got that one motherfucker that will check the weight of each box before they pick up a damn box. Now, I'm sure you have it because I've sat there and I've watched a few of my people that will sit there and grab a box, pick it up. Oh, that's a little too heavy. Oh, well, that might be. Oh, that's a light one. Okay, well, I'm gone. They'll grab that light box and take off. And then watch the women sit there struggling with the heavy boxes. That pisses me off more than anything.
But we do it, don't we?
Damn right. Well, that's like the one I've been picking on because fucking up her meetings. That's one I gotta give that person credit. She's a female, but damn, she'll grab the heaviest shit and she'll run with it.
Yep,
I give her that. And I'm like, you all need to slow the fuck down. I don't even know what y'all got. You just got a mess, and I got to figure this out. You're making my job harder. But yeah, we've had some fun. There was one case we went on. Let me see what Peters. What was it? It was out there somewhere. Petersburg, yeah. See, Robin is terrified of frogs, and we she goes out on that little porch thing, and there's frogs all over the yard. She hollers, "Rod!" I'm like, "What?" She's like, "There's frogs all in the yard. How am I gonna get to the van?" And I sat there and I pondered for a second, and I'm like, "Well, here." I just snatched her ass up, carried her ass down there, and threw her in the van. And there was frogs everywhere. I was even like, "Damn, that's a lot of frogs."
Yep, he packed me all the way to the van.
Yeah, I packed her ass. And,
oh my God, it was so freaking hot down there. And then I had to sit in the van with Matt the whole time complaining about his irritable bowel syndrome and his women problems.
I can't get fucked, but I gotta take a shit. Well, really, dude? I think you kind of killed two birds with one stone there, dude.
That's why he got stuck. That's why we put Jason with him in the bed.
I slept in the van. I was like, fuck this shit. I'm going to the van. But yeah, I know when we went out to L.A. when we shot My Ghost Story, Matt was with us, and there was some stewardess. Well, you call them stewardess, you call them flight attendants now. I can't remember.
They're flight attendants now.
Well, there was some flight attendants came out, and I mean, these women were hot. Where we was at the motel, and we were sitting there listening to them speaking, and you could tell they were speaking Russian. And Matt, he's like, "Oh man, I have to go over there and maybe ask one of them, see if they want to go have a drink." I said, I would go over there. Go over there and ask them girls over there if one of them want to go have a drink with you." I said, "Hell, ask them all for a drink." Well, he gets the courage. I help him out, get that courage all built up into him. He walks over there, and I'm sitting there, and I'm listening. I'm in the van now, listening. And he starts talking to these Russian women that are from Russia about Russia. I'm pretty sure they know more about Russia than he does. And I don't think they want to listen to that shit. And he struck out bad. He struck out bad. Oh Lord, I felt bad for him. I'm like, you're in L.A. Hollywood. Money, women, famous people, beautiful people. How could you not talk about Hollywood? Oh no, man, I just got nervous. So you start talking to them about the country they're from. Yeah. I'm like, here's your bottle.
At that one investigation, he kept talking to us, me and Liddy. Yeah, it's like me and Liddy. Almost like we were just too stupid to hold a conversation or something. And finally I told him, I said, that's why you can't get laid. I said, you try to talk to everybody like they're dumb.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Man, if you're listening, brother, man, I'm not picking on you. I really ain't. It's just you made, while you was in the group, you made life fun. You really.
I'm on you.
She's picking on you. I'm not, man. I got you back.
Mhm. And you know he ain't listening. He boycotted our asses.
Yeah. He boycotted us. I can't believe you're going to be doing a radio show. How's that got to do anything with the paranormal? I'm like, well, I can have guests on that deal with the paranormal like we do. Yeah, man, but you're giving in. You're giving in to the man. I'm like, who the fuck is this man everybody keeps talking about? And anyway, I only hear black people saying that. You're not black. You're whiter than I am. I guess the white man is keeping you down, man. Keeping another white man down. It was like, dang. Who else could we talk shit about?
Come and go in our group.
Yeah, we do. We've had over 40-some people come in and out of the group, I think, since we started in 2008.
Oh, each one of them was very memorable.
You know, in 9 years, it's kind of a blur now. Kind of blurry. Because it's like, wow, 9 years. That's a long time.
That is a long time.
I know some people have been doing this, they say 20, 30 years. Well, hell, I was still in high school. Oh, God. Speaking of that, this year's their 30th year reunion. Holy hell. Good God. I've been out of high school since 1987. Ain't that some shit?
Well, not far behind you.
Yeah.
8 years.
Well, you know what? We could go ahead and talk a little bit about all this research I did. I mean, damn. If the guys are going to come on the show, at least I could talk about, I have no idea about it. I mean, because he's the researcher, but I did learn some stuff that, especially about, I can't even say his last name, how do you say his last name? Edward Liskinsky. He's Polish.
Yeah.
I do know that. And he's the one who built the Coral Castle down in Florida. He's like 5 foot tall, weighs 100 pounds, and was able to move massive fucking stones that weighed, like 20, 30, 40, 50 tons with no help. I was going to be able to, I think I see somebody on here. I don't know if they're going to ask questions. It might be your man. Let me see.
Late?
Hello?
Hello, am I late?
Yeah, you're like 45 minutes late.
Oh, brother, you said 10 o'clock. I'm in Central Time. I'm sorry about that.
Oh, that's damn. Well, that's all right. I've been sitting here talking shit about you the whole time.
No, that's all right. I'm not trying to ditch on anybody. I was just looking at that, and I was wondering what in the hell. They're in Kentucky, I think, and the podcast is coming out of California. What time was I really supposed to call? I should have told you. I'm in Iowa.
Oh, well, well, I'm in Virginia. She's in West Virginia, so, there's an hour difference. Yeah, you're right. Well, we'll go ahead and everybody, this right here is our guest, Steve Long. So look, Steve, I'll just go ahead and we'll just jump out and shoot with it then. Could you tell everyone a little bit about yourself and what got you into your research?
All right. Yeah, believe it or not, I apologize to everybody for being late in confusion of times, but my name's Steve Long. I'm 46. Believe it or not, I have been a construction worker my whole life. I wasn't interested in science, really, to tell you the truth. I was just caught up in the rat race that they have us caught in, where, you know, I was just trying to live from check to check and drinking and partying and watching NASCAR and football. And I started a little roofing business and was on a job where I was re-roofing a real old building, and the front sign on the front of the building had been shorted out for about 60 years. Onto the top metal ring around the top of the building, and it must have been shorting out like in such a way that it was hitting it with a spark gap, like, you know, it was shorted out and it was sparking over to the drip edge. And I was starting to tear off in a back section where they had laid some additional roofing layers, and I accidentally tapped the first piece of metal on the building next door, and the guys on my crew said I disappeared in a white flash. And
wow.
It blew me up over the top of the building, and believe it or not, the electrician, when he came later that day, said it should have killed me, but it didn't. It changed everything about the way I think and the way I look at things, and you know, I started looking online, was interested in electricity, and a lot of my friends were like, you know, you just almost died, and that's why you're into this stuff. And I said, no, it's different. I'm feeling a need to learn, and, you know, I started reading every day and reading anything I could get my hands on that, you know, I found of interest. And then, you know, I ran across the TV that they force feed us about ancient aliens, and then I started looking at all these sites, and, you know, I ran across Ed Leeds Gowan, and I think what I did, because I've been trying over the course of a few years to break down what it is that I know in such a way that when I describe it, people understand me clearly and are not scared of what I'm saying, because at first I was scaring the hell out of people, and I had so much information in my head that I couldn't articulate it in such a way that I wasn't scaring people. You know what I mean? And I would ramble on, you know, and I was scaring off, and I scared off all my friends, and I just almost chased off my family because I had all this information. I was getting hit with a stream of information, but now I've talked with other people, and they believe that maybe something had happened, and I'd fused the two hemispheres of my mind together in such a way that when I see things, I'm seeing things with a left brain and a right brain view. Because I stopped doing drugs, I stopped drinking, and all I started doing was reading. And I put myself back through school, and I went to college for a period of time, and then, you know, I ran across Ed Leeds Gowan stuff, and when I read everything online about him that they had to say about him, and then I read his literature, everything that he wrote, and I looked at everything with what I would call clarity. I learned what they call modern physics after I learned Ed Leeds Gowan stuff. And I've talked to a multitude of people on all the websites and all the YouTube channels, and all over the place. I've talked to people about Ed Leeds Gowan, and I noticed one major mistake that everyone was making, and that is that all roads in science, for some sick reason, lead to modern physics. But if you look at the base of modern physics, and I went back and looked at the base of physics too, like Maxwell and Einstein and the original equations and where the basis of all the math began. And they had to set up a base by which to base their, where does the math come from? Because these guys aren't pulling numbers out of their butts. They have to have a base by which to where all the equations come from. And Maxwell in his original equations had identified two types of physics, and nature being asymmetric and everything of man being symmetric. And then how they define symmetry is within light and its reflection, which is what everything in modern physics now is based on is a strong and a weak force, And instantaneously, I started thinking to myself, well, that's not right, because I mean, if you look around, I mean, granted that there's light and there's reflection, but then there's also shadows and then there's darkness, and there's a balance between that. Like, there is no light without darkness. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm.
Right.
Okay. No, and then the true symmetry of nature, if when we put man inside of it with life, is life and death, light and dark, and man and woman. You know what I'm saying? And those are the things. Those are the things that are guaranteed in nature. Now they're not asymmetric, but see what we want to do is we want to separate the hell out of everything. People, you know what I mean? There's every it's got to be Republican, it's got to be Democrat, it's got to be pro-life, it's got to be against life. It's everything that we get black and then it's white. It's men are stronger than we want to separate the hell out of everything. That's what we want to do. We want to make shit difficult on ourselves. Then we're doing it right. Everything we think, everything. We overcomplicate the hell out of absolutely anything we can get our hands on. And then we want to dominate it, and then we want to control it, and then we want to, lock it up in a little box and do little things. You know what I mean? We are the most highly evolved creature in the universe and do not know it. And we want to overcomplicate everything. You know what I mean? It's absolutely insane. But anyways, get back to the light and the dark. So modern physics is wrong at its base, and that's all everyone uses is modern physics. That's all they use. Like, I've been kicked off of every Lee Scallon website online because every time I get on there and I try to say, look, Lee Scallon used equal force magnetic current, and modern physics in no way, in shape, or form is talking about equal force current. So, I mean, if you read Ed's book, he says electrons are not real. And he talks about how batteries are imbalanced and blah, 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 blah. But, he puts out a book called Magnetic Current, and he talks about equal force, current. And so there's millions of people on the face of the planet that have read the same stuff that I have read, but every single one of them have made the exact same mistake, and that is that they're applying modern physics to something that you cannot apply modern physics to. They are not the same thing. Not even slightly. Ed Lee Scallon said I'm doing what the Egyptians had done. And people laughed at him. And he said repeatedly, what I'm doing is very simple. The hard part is realizing it. But you got to think about, what was going on when Ed Lee Scallon was alive. At the time the castle was being constructed, they were already, people were already dying and people were already kind of disappearing. And Nikola Tesla, they were already kind of starting to say that he was losing his mind. And, I don't think Ed Lee Scallon wanted to get caught in that rat race. So, after a while, maybe he stopped. He just said, I'm not going to tell anybody anymore what I'm doing because I don't want to wind up dead, But,
right.
But anyways, make a long story short, there's a story about Ed Lee Scallon. And he built the castle for his Sweet 16. And that does sound like a wonderful thing, and it does sound like a wonderful reason to build a castle. But if you look at what Ed Lee Scallon had done, just go into the castle and look at his flywheel. His flywheel is made out of 120 V-shaped magnets. But where did the V-shaped magnets come from? The V-shaped magnet came from the Model T. And so and the original Model T had 16 V-shaped magnets on its hand crank. So Ed Leedskallen's first love was not a female, it was a car. And women know men, and men know themselves, and it is completely possible for a man to be in love with his car more than it is a girl. It is completely humanly possible. Dudes have a tendency to just, you know what I mean? But then he built his flywheel, the magnetic flywheel that's in the castle, out of those same V-shaped magnets, you know? And then he talks about equal force current. And so I started looking at what was wrong with the electromagnet. What was the difference between the electromagnet, the bar magnet, and the V-shaped magnet? I started realizing it's the shape. It's just simply the shape. See, but when modern physics was established, it was light and its reflection. So that's a strong force and a weak force. Modern physics, when it was established during the Industrial Revolution, a lot of that stuff was little financial backers here and little financial backers there, a little bit of twist of this and a little bit of twist of that. Because, like, Einstein's theory of relativity just recently has been debunked, and the reason why it doesn't work is the only reason why all these people all these years thought, oh, Einstein's theory or blah, 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 is because he, out of the equation, which is something that's there. It's an actual thing. There's ether. We walk around in a sea of energy. It's constantly moving. And so Einstein's math works because he nullified something that's real. That's not science. You don't change something that most people don't know anything about just to suit your needs. You know what I mean? And all these people, and they still haven't, I mean, they're not talking about it. They're not saying Einstein was wrong. You don't see a national news media saying, oh, they just recently found out Einstein is wrong. They're still teaching our kids the theory. And it's fact. It's not. And so, anyways, getting back to the beginning of physics and, you know, and enlightenment, reflection, and the electromagnet and the bar magnet, because of their shape and because current is forced into them, is the absolute reason why the current is imbalanced. It's the shape of the material that magnets flow within is the reason why electricity is even made. An electron and a proton are made when they force the current in. The magnetic center, like not if you were to like measure the material and find the center with a ruler, but the place that's between north and south on a bar magnet because of its shape and how the magnets have to flow from pole to pole, run into what I call a figure eight. And the figure eight is like a twist. The current is already spinning. You see, it doesn't need to be spun. It's already spinning. And then if the bars, you see what I'm saying? If you think about how the flux line moves from a bar shape to a V shape, you see what I'm saying? The current has to cross lines. So with the V shape, you see how if you close your eyes and envision how the magnets move, they're not crossing over the center in a V shape. They're just flowing from pole to pole. And so that makes the pinched part of a V-shaped magnet zero. And what zero is the balance. It's the balance. And so what zero does is it allows north and south to move together as one, freely with no heat and excitement. You see?
Yeah.
And so I don't know. I'm trying to pack a bunch of shit into an hour and a half, and I've been doing this for so long. Do you have any questions?
Yeah, I got a few. I guess straight up would be first thing would be what is magnetricity, and how does it apply to your research and also to ancient technologies?
All right, magnetricity. Now, CERN defined it a few years back as something that they found in ice bright, something that was like totally unattainable. I mean, if you close your mind and you're like, how the fuck am I going to pull energy out of an ice bright? But magnetricity is basically it's okay. Electricity is a forced byproduct. Does that make sense to you? And it's fucking this. and magnetricity moves on its own, where you leave the current whole. If you all you got to do is give magnetricity, like equal force magnetism, all you got to do is give it a place to run, and it will run on it. With electricity, it has to be forced, so it's always trying to jump off the wire. You ever been in a place where there's high voltage wires above it, and you can almost feel the wires splitting or trying to push themselves apart? Always wants to get off. It always wants to get off the fucking wire. Magnetricity moves without force. See, what Ed Leeds Scallon did was, I don't know if you guys have ever set up Satellite. Satellite has this system where they have these two devices. They go together, but it's called a diplexer. What a diplexer is essentially what the PMH was to Ed Leeds Scallon. He could when he spun his hand crank, okay, and spun his hand crank next to that massive iron chain next to it, so the flux lines were busting on the chain. That we're taught the electrons and protons are within all things, but that's where plant, animal, mineral comes in. The chain was once alive, and so the power of life is still in the chain, but it's not as strong as it was when it once lived. And so when Ed spun that flywheel, equal force magnetic current is the power of life. You know what I mean? It's the power that's in the air. It's the power that is in the chain. And so it got those magnets moving around and gave it a little bit more of what it was used to. And so as he spun that flywheel and the flux lines were busting on that chain, when balance began to take place between the chain and the flywheel, a spark gap took place. And one started feeding the other, and he could take his hand off the flywheel. And it moved perpetually like that, with spark gapping off that chain, that massive chain that was sitting right next to it. You see him in some of the pictures where he's spinning the wheel and all the chains gather up. But what he did was he set on the other side, he set up a PMH kind of up on its side with the keeper on the end of it. So the flux lines were now also breaking on the chain, but they were breaking on one of the PMHs. But this is where magnetricity comes in, because all magnetricity, all you have to do for that is give it a place to flow, and it will go. So as it was the flux line busting on the keeper on one PMH, he's got an experiment in his book where he talks about hanging a magnet up with one steel iron rod, like a piece of piano wire or guitar string hanging down from the center of the magnet to an iron welding rod. And all you got to do is, put a compass up to it. You can see there's north on one side and south on the other. The magnetic current moves without force. You just need to give it a place to run. And because it is whole, it moves with excitement. And so he would set a PMH up so the flux lines were busting on that keeper, filling the PMH up. But then, because it was whole, it would run down that single wire from the castle all the way down to the tripod. And then that black box would be another PMH. What he'd do is he'd run jumper cables down from the PMH in that black box to the stone, and he drove an iron bar into the inside of the stone and then wrapped the outside of the stone with flattened copper wire. The flattened copper wire is still at the castle, and the copper flattener is still at the castle. And then he connected one leg of the PMH to that iron rod and one leg of the PMH to that copper coil. And then in Ed Leeds Scallon's experiment, it shows how to make a PMH, it shows you how to charge a PMH, and it shows you how to flip the poles of a PMH. At the castle, he's got this sign that says ring bell twice, but in his experiment, it says to use a small LED light or whatever type of. He back then didn't have that kind of shit, so he used like a doorbell. So when the poles are flipped, the bell rang twice. And what he do is you have to read the experiments. He's just placing a coil into the backside of the PMH. You just stick it into the backside, it flips the poles. Pull it back out, and it flips the poles back the other way. Ed Leeds Scallon would flip the poles of the stones after he charged it with the power of life itself, and then he would charge it up, and then flip the poles of the stones. But see, that's one piece of what he did. Now, the giant crescent moon that's in the center of the castle, and then there's Jupiter, and then there's Saturn on the wall. Now, this is the thing that I I posted all the crop circles so people can see what I'm talking about, how the true symmetry is light, reflection, shadow, and darkness. Because we all know my 9-year-old son can go in the backyard and block light and block reflection with a shadow. But they don't even realize that gives away to darkness. That's what it does. What is dark energy? Dark energy is literally the pulling forces of the planets that do not give off their own light nor reflect it. The sun is being pulled through space while it pushes back its light, and then it's pushing back with its reflection as well. And then through alignment of the spins, you know what I'm saying? Through the alignment, you can see that the Earth itself, from time to time, will block the reflection. And what that does is it gives way to the pulling forces of darkness, which would be like Saturn and Jupiter, because they don't give off light in order to reflect it. So Edward Steve Down would flip the poles of the stones from inside to out, but only on the nights of the smallest crescent moon, because the Earth itself was blocking the light of the sun. And by doing so, it allowed the pulling forces of Saturn and Jupiter to help lift those stones up off the ground and push them around with sticks. But that explains also why the Egyptians gave all these planets God names and worshipped them. It wasn't that they worshipped them because they were gods. They worshipped these planets because of their ability through the alignment to manipulate the pulling forces of the planets, use them for the greater good of mankind. And he tried to explain it. Italy tried to explain it repeatedly. But nobody listened to him. They just laughed and laughed and laughed because we had electricity. And electricity is taught by the mainstream, and it's taught in all the schools. And now they're saying that lightning is electric, and everything's static electricity. And my son's got toys in the back that everything's electric this and electric that and electric this and electric that. But nothing in the universe is electric. Nothing, except for our toys and our devices.
All right. So what does Nikola Tesla and Edward Lee Scanlon actually have to do with your specific research?
Well, everything I have came from Ed Lee Scanlon, and then I used Nikola Tesla. Everybody's like, they always are drawn to me because of I'll use a picture of Tesla or whatever a lot of times, but Nikola Tesla was used to create electricity because it fit into the scheme of the strong and the weak. This is where we live in a world where there is a mainstream existence, that we are only taught certain things. We are only allowed to know certain things. Everything on the TV is monitored, everything on the radio is monitored, everything that the media says is monitored. We only see things because they want us to see things. We only know things if they want us to know things. We only want things when they tell us that we want things. You know what I mean? And so the education system, the religion system, everything is those things that the mainstream chooses to give us. They are things, you understand, they're gifts of the mainstream. But they're the very things that screw us. Because we want in our hearts to believe that these people that we considered our leaders are going to do the right thing. They're going to let us in on this shit, but they don't. That's the worst part of it is that's why we're all suckers. My grandfather, my grandfather's grandfather, my kids, they're all being lied to. And, you know, we live in this little reality. I mean, I would, I think I'd faint. I'm going to hit my head on something hard if I heard Donald Trump say something about free energy.
Yeah, good luck with that one.
You know, I mean, they're not going to say that. They're not going to do that. They're not going to give us that. But it's fucking quite obvious. Oh, excuse my French. It's quite obvious.
Oh,
if they didn't want us to know, then they should start going out and busting all the big stone monuments that, I mean, you'd have to surround with 20 Coonrod cranes to get up off the ground, and then you wouldn't be able to move it because you got cranes in a circumference around it. Nobody's going to be able to move anywhere, you know? They got monoliths out there that are bigger than the tallest buildings we've ever built, laying on their side because they weren't quite done with their construction. And something happened, and, you know, they didn't get to erect them. But, you know, and they were made back during the time when our world is structured. We live in a 4,000-year timeline set up by the Christian religion or Catholicism. You know what I mean? And there may be all these other religions and blah, 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 but I mean, we are stuck in the 4,000-year timeline. And that's ludicrous. When we've lived here millions and millions and millions of years, out of all the creatures that Darwin said that we evolved from, we coexisted with and have outlived them. You know what I'm saying? It's ludicrous.
Right.
Any more questions?
Yeah. Can you explain how ancient builders were able to build, such massive megalithic stone structures, such as the ones that are found in Peru and also the Great Pyramid of Egypt? How were they able to do that?
Well, the same way Eliud Scallon did, but they cut the stones with equal force magnetic current or 0 point resonance frequency. There's all kinds of you can go online and there's all kinds of ancient stone carvings with tune forks and hammers on them together. But it's resonance frequency. If you find Eliud Scallon's at work picture, there's a wooden device there with the end of the picture's been cropped off because they didn't want us to see the tuning fork that he was using to cut the stones with. And then I because of the stuff that I've been researching for so long, that I've talked to people that have been in Egypt, that have been in some of the museums in Egypt, and have described to me what they're labeled as catapults, but they're tuning forks.
Right.
You see, what they've described to me is tuning forks, but it's during a time frame that we've been taught that they didn't have steel. You understand? So that's why they're in the back areas of the museum. Because they supposedly didn't have steel back then, but they did.
Well, if Tesla used ancient Sanskrit terminology in his descriptions of natural phenomena, what exactly does that mean?
Excuse me? Say that one more time, please.
Tesla used the ancient Sanskrit terminology in his descriptions of natural phenomena. I mean, what does that mean?
Did you get that from something I wrote?
No, it's a question I came up with when I was researching the stuff that you do and magneticity and so forth. It led me in so many different paths that I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, it's gonna.
I want to know the answer to this.
Now, they push down our throats. They nearly force feed it to us. It's all over the internet, and it's on. It was on both the History channels, and they were force feeding it to us. But if you remember how we're censored by everything, they want us to believe that aliens built all these past sites and that aliens were here, and they're the reason why we advanced like we did. But I mean, that's getting into some stuff that, in my mind, the early governments have had 0 point technology before electricity was invented, and invented a force usable byproduct from what they had discovered. You see, so in my mind, the governments have had the 0 point technology since maybe the late 1800s. And so if you can imagine developing that technology up into, the 40s and 50s, then you can imagine jump room technology. You guys ever heard of jump room technology? Dwight Eisenhower's great-granddaughter had talked about some of that stuff, the jump room technology. Nikola Tesla had, he called it the curtain of light, but it was essentially teleportation, time travel. Now, that's I try not to get into that stuff too much because I usually don't want to lose people, and a lot of people are weirded out when I go into time travel. But if you can imagine in 1953, like, as you guys know about the Philadelphia experimental, when the ship disappeared, is that the right? The experiment when the ship disappeared, and then it rematerialized, and there was men stuck in the bulkhead of the craft.
Right.
You guys know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
And now imagine them taking that technology once they figured out how to do it the right way and put it in a little room and then travel back in time controlled. You imagine travel back in time and then building a colony. Now you take the technology advanced, knowing that they had 0 point in the late 1800s all the way to 1953, you have to see what the government's already done. Behind, they've got NASA that's there for us, putting on their little Hooven Dance show for us, so we feel like that their technology isn't any greater than ours, but that's just, they're putting on a show. That's all theatrical. And then they travel back in time because they want to see the creation of mankind itself, so they build a colony on Mars. You understand? So you take the advanced technology from 1953 and build a colony on Mars back in time. And so that gives the government plenty of time to plant shit in various places, place things strategically. You know what I mean? That way we can look back in time and see things, remnants of stuff.
So
I believe that there's aliens, but a lot of this stuff, when they talk about the abductions and stuff, and you listen to what these people say when they're abducted, and one of the very first most famous abduction stories is about a black lady, or is it a white lady and a black man, and she said they stuck a needle in her navel. You know what I mean? I don't think aliens have to use needles. That's mankind stuff. If they're so highly advanced, why are they sticking needles in people? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. So I know that there's aliens, but I can't grasp exactly what one would be. And knowing that how advanced our government honestly is in comparison to what these people know, that's a twisted. That's a whole other topic.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
That kind of runs into one of my questions about, where you kind of talk about the time travel, is when the ancients were doing these mass buildings and stuff, and all of a sudden it's like this technology has been, mostly lost, mostly forgotten. But would it have been possible that those ancient people, because of some kind of earthly catastrophe, left the planet?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, I think some of them did leave the planet. I do believe that some of them got off the planet, it couldn't have been very many. You know what I mean? Because it's within my understanding that the universe is a sphere, and there's magnetic lines in it, like on a basketball. And on each one of those magnetic lines is, like, example, on our magnetic line in the universe, there's our sun and then our solar system, but then there's another sun and there's another solar system. And that our sun is spinning in a curved helix spiral with all the planets moving behind it in a corkscrew spiral. This crap that NASA feeds us about how the sun is sitting in one spot and the planets are spinning around like a record on a record player ain't no more retarded than when the church was burning people at the stakes and telling people Earth was flat. They just put it out in space because ain't nobody going to get on a ship. No regular Joe's going to get on a ship and just tootle their ass off into space like they could around the circumference of the Earth. You see, the sun is in motion. And so once every about 7,000 years, the two suns start to cross paths. They don't hit each other because they're spinning like the helix spiral of our DNA. We have two strands, we have two suns. There is a man, there is a woman, the day and night, and all that shit. It plays into the twos. It's a duality whereby everything spins together as one, but by no means is it a singularity. So about once every 7,000 years, the two suns cross places and each equal up and by one another. This Nibiru planet, the Ubru, that everybody talks about on the internet, has three meanings, but you only see the one on the internet constantly. You only see the one meaning on the History Channel when they're talking about ancient aliens constantly, because that's what they want you to believe is the one meaning. But Nibiru means planet, yes, but then it also means the bridge, and it also means the crossing. But there's, if I were to look at that logically, there is one word that does not fit with the other two words. Crossing and bridge seem like something that's very similar to one another, but planet doesn't fit the scheme of the other two. So maybe it's called Nibiru, but I know at some point the two planets cross paths, and as they come towards one another, our planet heats up like it is right now. And as the planets cross paths, one planet grabs the other planet's poles and they flip. It's a natural thing. It's happened over and over and over and over. There's nothing no one can do other than try to figure out where Highland is and get to it. But when the poles of the planet shift, they don't realize that more water surrounds the equator than anywhere else. I call it the bulge. A lot of old Navy men know about it, but they don't go around talking about it. You know what I mean? Because nobody gives a shit, really, honestly, if you think about it. But when the poles of the planet shift, that bulge is going to shift. And when it does, you never learn how to swim.
Well, what is a matrix? And are we living in a matrix?
No. We live in a ready-made reality of horse shit that they feed us, and we think it's wonderful. We eat it every day. You know what I mean? We could be in a Jetson world where everybody's flying around in a craft that sucks energy out of the air. No batteries, no, you know what I mean? We wouldn't have to ever plug into nothing. We could do that. And then this power itself, when I look at the pyramids, like the other gentleman that one of you guys had mentioned the pyramids, and when you look at the pyramids as a whole picture, there were pyramids all over the planet, what I call the world pyramid grid. Now, in my mind, when you see the pyramids, they are all pyramids, but they all have a slightly different build or structure on the outside. That says to me that all the cultures, relatively, the ones that were smart enough to accept the wisdom, all built pyramids, and they were all culturally different on the outside, but all functioned exactly the same way, which gave early man wireless technology, but at the same time helped to raise the resonant frequency of the planet. And when the resonant frequency of the planet rose, because our minds resonates with the frequency of this planet, it's the same. Everything on Earth grew to a big size that was close to these pyramids or within the grid. You know what I'm saying? And that's, in my mind's eye, that's why there were giant men, and that's why there were giant dinosaurs. That's why there were giant fish, and that's why there were giant bugs and plants. Everything grew together. You know what I mean? And then the reason why everything grew together is when the pyramid grid was up and running, there was no sicknesses, you see, because our minds are the living pharmacies that make their own chemicals, and we dump shit in our bodies. You see the commercials on TV. Oh, yeah, take this pill. It cures one thing and then makes you sick 58 other ways. You know what I mean? I'm sick of seeing commercials on TV that, that pill might help with my liver, but then at the same time it's going to give me heart failure, and my toenails might fall out, and my hair might turn purple. You know, the key to the human mind is through frequency, but it's equal force magnetic current. And most people don't know that Ed Lee Scallon, when he moved to Florida, had tuberculosis during a time when there was no cure for tuberculosis. You can look up his medical records. He cured himself just standing around the energy while he was using it. But the Pyramid of Giza, if you go back to the because I've read so much shit, just volumes and volumes of stuff. But if you go to Egypt and read with the people that live on the plateau, not the assholes that work for National Geographic, but the people that can barely speak English, that live on the plateau, will say they were healing centers. and that they wrapped the stones in golden cloth and moved them at night. Now, some of the information is gone, but it all plays into what I tried to tell you earlier about how they wrapped them in a, how Ed Lee Talent wrapped them in a flattened copper wire, and flipped the poles, but only on a crescent moon. It was very simple stuff what Ed did. In your mind around how easy it is, because we want to make everything fucking hard. You can go online and look up, I don't know if it's still there, but it's called Keeley.net, and then you can put a slash next to it, and the magnetic modification. Now, there's rumors that the very first Model T had a perpetual motion magnetic motor in it. Yes. But see, now he had to win the right to sell cars to the American people. Henry Ford did. And so he had all this money built up, but then he lost it all while he was fighting with the American Motors Association to have this car he could sell to the American people. Well, now all that stuff is going on. Rockefeller was losing all of his profits because he made all his money off lamp oil. He was losing his ass literally to Tesla and Edison while they were fighting over AC and DC. While all that was going on, the combustion engine was invented over in Europe. Now, I went through the paper trail and found that Rockefeller paid for Henry Ford's mass production, and so you would automatically assume, yes, because of gasoline and oil. Then, you find the rumors, that the possibility that Henry Ford's very first car was a magnetic motor. And that's where Ed Lee Talent's whole idea came from. Oh, my God, that car runs off free energy. I'm going to turn it into a machine. But see, all that stuff is lost because history only told to suit agendas.
Yeah.
Henry Ford wrote a book. Henry Ford wrote a book called The Worldwide Jew. Now, most people don't know that either. And Henry Ford was friends with Hitler. Most people don't know that either. Most people don't know that the Rockefellers paid for all the Nazi fuel, and they almost all. And I got a Ford truck, so I'm not trying to say anything bad. But most of the trucks in Germany during World War II were sitting on Ford frames. But the Vonderweppen that the Nazis used, in my mind, literally was the original Model T motor. Like I said, which is essentially the same Magneto that's sitting in Florida at the Coral Castle and it's rotting. But
I don't mean to step back for a second, but where we're talking about the Great Pyramid and all these other pyramids throughout across the planet, were their sites chosen for a reason? I know we was talking about like the wireless connection.
Oh yeah.
So how was
the planet? Excuse me?
I said, how does that all tie in with all these ancient pyramids and ancient sites?
Well, they're just sitting on the same grid we run our radio frequencies on nowadays. We don't use radio. The grid that all our radio signals are running on, we don't use it for nothing but running signals on it anymore, but it's full of energy. That's where all the energy comes out of. That's why but everything got separated. Remember I was saying in the beginning that everything's been separated. They'll admit to the dipoles in the radio frequencies, and and the satellite cable stuff and all that. They'll admit to the dipoles there, but not in the current, because everything's been separated. But magnetic current itself is sitting in our radio grid. We can pull energy out of that anytime we want, and it doesn't matter what the environment's like.
Well, when we talk about these polar shifts, how does the polar shifts? You said that, and I know science has also proven that the Earth has went through these polar shifts. What causes the polar shifts, and how does that affect the planet and also I guess everything that's on the planet?
Well, just pretty much it's a beginning and an end, brother. I mean, it's out with the old and in with the new. It's a cleansing that the planet goes through that kind of allows it to be the rich, beautiful place that it is. I mean, you see examples of it between spring and winter and fall. I said that backwards, but it's imagine how things would be if nothing had died and nothing could come back. You know what I'm saying? So it's a cycle, and actually how that it happens is the planet. So everything's not spinning the way we think it's spinning. Like the Earth is spinning, but then it's also spinning in the same pattern that the sun is spinning in. And then there's other things in space that are pulling on the planet. So what it does is example, this really old scientist went to Italy, and he pulled the plug of the Earth, a real deep core sample from the side of an ancient volcano of ash samples. And he, through the ash samples, noticed that the planet actually slowly rocks back and forth like on a pendulum, but with each swing gets a little higher in the swing to the point where it eventually just swings all the way over. But the pendulum swing comes from different things coming from, you got to imagine that, like I said, our solar system is slowly passing through another solar system. So as objects pass by the Earth, or the Earth passes by these other objects, it slowly swings towards one and then swings back towards the other. You see what I'm saying? Because everything's spinning. And so, when we get to that one planet that's just close enough, then and it's at the height of its pendulum swing. It's like pushing your child on a swing set. When you get that fucker just right, the kid will spin all the way around at once. Not that I would suggest doing that to your child, but I'm just saying as an example. I remember my dad pushed me on a swing when I was a kid, and I thought a couple times I was going to go around it. So, but is that what you were asking, or am I off?
No, that's what I was asking.
So, what role does the Mayan calendar play into this? Did the Mayans know about the polar shift? How would they know?
Well, I don't know. It's probably the same reason why I would know. It's kind of a common sense thing, but we're not taught to have common sense. You guys know. You sound very Southern. You guys probably know that something you got to be born with. You cannot give common sense, and nor can you buy it. And it's kind of rare now. I imagine it was rare back then, and they paid attention to things, but instead of teaching their people bullshit so they could be enslaved, they wanted their kids all up, because we got the laws of physics and we're bound to them, and I think that was criminal to even write them, because everything changes, everything's subject to change. Humans for some reason don't want to change. I think it's just because we've been taught not to want to change.
Right.
We don't want mass hysteria. Well, I'm telling you, if you'd have told my great-grandparents this shit a long time ago, all the problems would be in our past and we'd be resolved by today. At some point, you just have to, that's our human ability, is to adapt. That's what we are the best at than any other creature on this planet. We can adapt. It's all right. In my mind, we just live in a world of sissies. They got their panties all in the bunch. They don't want to change, but we have to. We're headed for a point that it's going to blow up in our faces if we don't start. We should have changed last week, last month. We don't have time. Today is the day. There is no other day. We can't keep putting it off. But that's what we're doing. And it's because the elites know that there's something coming that cannot be stopped. That's why there's all these underground bases. That's why there's all these Walmarts that have been turned into underground bases. That's why there's all these FEMA camps. It's because, we're going to wind up in a state of martial law, but it's all in accordance to things. They want everything tidy and in order. That way they can look us all over like we're cows in a herd to decide who's going to be the prize picks that they're going to take down into the ground with them, and everybody else is going to left on the surface to make it or not make it. When you pull a ship. That's why, President Trump, like right now, if we can't stop it, what is the point of even preparing for it? So now they're not even going to try to deal with global warming. Say it doesn't exist. The reason why it doesn't exist is because you cannot stop it. There's no way to stop it. The short count of the Mayan calendar is the Earth and cycles of the Earth, but the long count is the motion of the sun inside the magnetosphere. They just didn't base their calendar on the equal and opposite sun because it's not our sun. But the starting in the beginning of their long count is at the Mirror or the crossing of the bridge, or at that point, you know what I mean, when the two solar systems spin through each other. That's where the calendar starts over. Now, they've done math, and I've looked all over line, and you know, they try to say that the Mayan calendar really isn't that far off from ours, but I've got it calculated out to about being a 13-year difference. So I imagine around 2023, our weather is just going to be so vicious that we're going to think we're really literally in hell.
Well, that's kind of where that's where I was going to go with my next question is, has any of this play into the climate change that we're experiencing today, or even the climate change
we're in the process of it since 2001. I think the two solar systems were starting to approach each other. But like last year, I'm a roofer, okay? And once somebody pay, you know, because I'll eventually get. I mean, you would be shocked, the people that I have spoke with. You would be floored, the people that have looked over my work. So I'm not even going to go into a list of names because it's just too big of people that I've spoke with. You know, that are just floored because I'm not playing around. Religion is a cult. All religion is a cult that separates us by race and gender. There's no God and there's no motherfucking Satan. Listen, transhumanism is where we're headed, and we are already evolved to the highest level. We, men and women, model the particles that of the true physics. Without a man and without a woman, there is no life. There's just none. This transhumanism horseshit of singularity is leading us into a male toxicity, where we are in an all-male consciousness, where we discount women to the point that we treat them like possessions. It's going to be the end of all of us because we're equally here together. We model, and the physics that we use is drastically skewed because the reason why they didn't give darkness a power is because Maxwell was a strong Christian. So, but that, you know what I'm saying? He didn't want to give darkness a power nor a shadow. But you've got to take that and shove it off to the side for science. You see what I'm saying? But everything, you know, CERN's looking for a God particle. That's insane. And now there's people going, oh no, CERN is proving that there is a God because he's looking for a God particle. But there is no God particle. There is no one thing. It's two things that move together as one. It is a duality that moves with a oneness, but by in no means is a singularity. Singularity means death to us all and the end of all things. It's insane. I don't know. It makes me sick to have all this information in my head. But eventually someone will fund me, and I'll do, because I know that there's a scientific method and I should do this and I should do that, but I'm not going to do any of it the way that anybody's telling me. I turned down a job. It's ironicism that a company that works for NASA, Next Phase, contacted me. The CEO's name's Stephen Gantz, and he wanted me to help him work on some stuff for NASA. And he acknowledged that what I'm talking about is wonderful and all that, but he just kind of wanted to take what I know and mold it into the fold. And I'm pretty poor, you know what I mean? I live check to check, and I'd like to have that, but not so it can become a secret and not to NASA. Because I know NASA knows that the universe is not spinning like a record on a record player. They have lied to us from day one. You know, so I'm not, you know what I mean? I'm going to get my own funding and do things my way. And everybody's like, well, what about, let pride get in the way and go to NASA. And I'm like, you go to NASA. I don't trust them. That's why I'm not on Facebook. I don't trust Facebook. Well, you know, it's not that I have something to hide. What it is it's my business. And it ain't none of everybody else's business. You know what I mean? That's how I was raised. You know, aren't you guys raised that your business is yours and to keep it to yourselves?
Exactly. Yeah, that's the way I was raised.
Right, right. That's my dog. I ain't got nothing to hide. It ain't none of your business. But anyway, any more questions?
Yeah. Why, if the world governments know all this, why are they keeping it away from the populace? I mean, what's the end game with that?
With toys. They can abduct us. They can scoop us up and manipulate us, and you know what I mean. We're just it doesn't make any sense to me why a small group of people from the masses, but it's greed. It's sheer hatred. I think it's power and it's hunger, and it don't make any sense. I think that we've been here so many times that maybe, this time was just one time for the public and the masses to be held down. I'm not sure if this happens, repeatedly or how many times it's happened, but I know that, the Hopi Indians said we've been here like 5 times, but if it happens, relatively, I'm thinking about once every 7,000 years, everything's erased to a degree. Who knows how many times? It's hard to say. I try not. I've looked at all of this information like I'm taking a test in school, and if I run across something that puzzles me, I just skip it and go back to it. Because 9 times out of 10, if I keep going forward, problem that I can't figure out will come to me anyway with the rest of the research. So I try to stay out of it.
Do you think your research could, lead in, do any kind of help with the nanotechnology or any other type of applications that, either they're working on?
Well, see, that's the problem. When NASA, I had been talking about our minds being living pharmacies, but then I was also talking about how I have been thinking about growing new limbs for amputees, and that the human body was a biomechanical machine, that we were the perfect machine already, and that our minds were supercomputers that, made their own chemicals. So, we could essentially live forever and be giants and a bit of blah, 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 blah. But then when NextPhase contacted me, he was talking about the drone technology and the nanotechnology. Well, the nanotechnology runs off of the power inside your body, so you don't even need to worry about powering that shit. You know what I mean? Have you ever seen the videos where you can charge a cell phone with your hand, use a paper clip and a silver coin? You can charge your cell phone with a paper clip and a silver coin. Did you know that?
Yeah, I've seen those.
Yeah, the nanotechnology runs off the host. Whatever energy is running through the host, the nanotechnology runs off of it. And so the drones and you ever see that the Iron Man movies? He's got that thing in his chest. That this technology is essentially very similar to that. Ed Leeds Callan could probably could have back in the day charged up one of them PMHs to the point where it glowed orange, but I don't see the point in it. But it's essentially it's kind of it'd be like an everlasting battery. I suppose it would work like that. You could charge it up and then slowly siphon energy off of it like a giant battery. But I'm just trying to avoid the whole battery thing. Right now the design that I have probably would fit in a large one-stall garage or on the back of a giant truck. But I would want to build it big enough that I could tinker with it. You know what I mean? And then make it smaller with time.
Right.
You know what I mean? And essentially all.
No, go ahead.
And essentially all the now and then the magneto that I'm talking about is Ed Leeds Callan. But see now there are hundreds of them that have been made, but all of them have been made wrong, and all of them are ran off batteries. Every single one of them. Because I've talked to, I think, 60 or 70 people that have built the, reproductions of Ed Leeds Callan's flywheel. And those magnets, there's 120 magnets, and they're in stacks of 5. and they're pressed together in a certain way. But he presses them together. Now, Ed Leeds Callan pressed them together north to north and south to south. But there's a certain way there's a certain tool that you have to use when you press those magnets together. See, now what he did was there were stacks of 5. So the way he put them together, he took all the power of the top 2 magnets and all the power of the bottom 2 magnets and forced it into the center magnet. There's a specific way to do that, and every single person that I talked to did not do it. So when they spun their flywheel, you imagine taking a bike rim and setting it down so the center post is, straight up and down, and then spinning that bike rim. Now, if the rim is straight, the rim is, pretty relatively centered to the center pin. But like, say if the rim is warped, then it's going to spin like it's warped. You'll see that warp in it when it's spun. And so if you don't put the magnetic magazines together the right way, so all of the power of the top 2 magnets on, the top layer, and then all the, he built it in such a way so the flux line was in the exact center magnet all the way around of the 120 magnets. That way the flux line spun level. Does that make sense? And every single person that I spoke with did not put their magnetos together the right way, and every single person I spoke with are running them off batteries, and it's not meant to be run off batteries. It's meant to run off of perpetual motion. Well, see, the machine's not going to suck energy out of the air while you're using it if you don't have perpetual motion first. You see, it's just going to be a regular magneto.
Right. Well, you have, if anyone is interested in finding out more or has any concerns or questions, how can they get in touch with you?
I'm on LinkedIn. I didn't want to do Facebook because of various reasons. I figured if I was going to be right in people's faces, I might as well take it to all the CEOs, and I've taken to the point where I've gone through hundreds of the crop circles, and tried to differentiate, the ones, because I know that there's some fake ones that people are doing, but some of them are so detailed that there's no way in hell you could do it in the dark of the night and in 8 hours, before the sun came up. They're just too detailed and too big. And so I've taken many of the crop circles and explained what they mean, because it means you can see all of what I tried to describe to you in the crop circles. You can see if you go on in LinkedIn and you can see all my stuff. I've got it all posted right there, and I've had to memorize everything that I know because my computer, I've had problems with all my computers, and the Air Force and aerospace and the National Security has contacted me. The president of National Security contacted me. I almost shut down my leg. I've had some of the Rothschilds contact me. It's just a huge list of people, and all my friends are like, well, the Men in Black may come, but I'm like, I don't know how many people even know what the hell I'm talking about. And then the people that are in the know that do know, I don't know if they might just be listening to see what I know, but I haven't actually built anything because I'm too poor to do it. My family comes first, and so I suppose if you look at all the ignorant stuff that's been funded, this would be a fun thing to fund, because it wouldn't take much to, to build the magneto, and then to get it running perpetually, and then to cut a stone with a tuning fork using energy from the wheel, or to lift a piece of stone in the ancient way. That'd be awesome to see, But
oh yeah.
It would be. And so I bet, and it's not a lot of money. I need to be able to care for my family while I put the wheel together. But I refuse to work with people that are going to try to tell me how to do it because I know what I'm talking about. I don't need somebody like I've contacted the Coral Castle at least 30 times trying to get to talk to somebody that wasn't a physicist. The lady that runs the Coral Castle, her husband is a physicist. And when I tell him that he didn't use modern physics and it has nothing to do with electrons and protons, he laughs at me and has hung up on me a couple of times. I mean, they don't want it solved because they're making money off of it being a mystery.
Yeah.
It's pretty insane. I mean, when you try to ask them why they tell that story of the Sweet 16, I mean, he mentions it in his book. But I mean, he says in his book it's not a girl. He mentions it right in his book that it's not a girl, but they tell the story on TV. And, Billy Idol wrote a song called My Sweet 16 and made a music video at the Coral Castle. So, I mean, everybody's brainwashed.
Thanks. So where do you see if you had the funding and the backers and so forth, where would you see how far advanced your research would go and how would it apply to everybody?
I don't know. That's a good question. I think that I'd build something, make sure that it ran, lift a stone, cut a few stones, and then I'd probably make a couple thousand videos and send them all out at the same time. So that, even if one of them was hidden, one of them would make it,
Right.
And I'd like to give people free energy in any environment, day, night, hurricanes, in any environment, so they could have fresh water. You know what I'm saying? And
right.
There's plenty of places where people don't have that stuff, where they could very easily have it. Where impoverished countries that are under the thumb of the Clintons.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then it revolutionized everything, because you wouldn't need the battery industry you could pretty much end. I know there's a lot of good people that are in the battery industry, but what about all the people that worked for the telephone companies when the cell phone came out? No one cared about them. When they came out with these disposable TV sets, who gave a shit about the TV repairmen? Nobody. So I really don't care about the people that make batteries, because we don't need them. It's part of the change. They need to go to school and learn how to run the new equipment. Stop being a battery guy and be a free energy guy. That's where the money will be. But,
Yeah, that's kind of like we run into here with the coal industry, because everybody's all about coal. And even though there's new technologies out there that produces electricity or power or energy, it's all about wanting to dig that coal. And, and I understand it's people's livelihoods.
That's all they know.
Yeah.
It's all they know, man. You know what I mean? And they bring work back. Cause, I don't know if the Mexicans would want to dig in the mines, but we might. It's all about money. But there's all kinds of different kinds of money. People don't think about that.
Yeah. Well, one more quick question before we have to go. So do you have any plans for 2017? Any special projects or any events or fairs or anything like that you go to talk about this, or do you go speak at any colleges or corporations or anything?
No, I'm actually waiting for all that to come. I haven't been. I got asked by a guy by the name of Eric Denmar to talk at a UFO convention in California, but I couldn't make it. Because like I said, I don't have that kind of money. I'm just pretty much nobody from nowhere that sees things in a different way than everybody else. And I know that modern physics is wrong, and I know that electricity is a byproduct. I've had guys that are like, I'm a proton physicist. Do you realize that this is the hardest topic on Earth? And I'm like, yeah, because you're splitting a pole in half and calling it something that doesn't exist. Yeah, that's hard. It's a forced energy. You're trying to make a free energy out of something that is only partially there. Like if I was to take one of your legs away from you and then ask you to run a marathon, would you be able to do a good job? That's what electricity is, a byproduct. It is made. It's a product of force. It's barbarian. In everything that we use like the carcass of this energy. We could run everything that we have off of the free generators until they could start developing things, and then they could slowly pull pieces of the grid apart. And then we wouldn't have to worry about a grid that some country could screw with either. You know? Because right now our grid is... You ever seen those worst-case scenarios? There's been places in California where they lost all their power for like 10 days, and the city tore themselves to pieces. They literally got at each other's throats over just not having energy. That's 10 days.
Oh, yeah.
Now imagine this world without 2 months of electricity. What kind of chaos? You guys got bow and arrows and hatchets and all that stuff because you're going to need them if we lose energy for more than 10 days.
Yeah. It'd be terrible. God, would it be terrible.
Look, the sheep is everybody that follows this mainstream bullshit. And you want to know what a zombie is? A zombie is one of these people that all they know how to do is push buttons, and all they know how to do is get up off their asses and walk to the refrigerator and pull something out to eat. They don't know how to kill nothing. They don't know how to hunt nothing. They don't know how to gather nothing. And if society were to fall apart, these people would seize up and they'd go into shock. And a zombie, in my mind, is a person that's in shock, that is so hungry that they would eat anything. And people don't even realize that. But I'm just saying that you know people that are, you know, I'm sure that you know people that are just, you know, they're goody two-shoe types that are only know the little bit of something about that they do to make their life comfortable enough for them to just live it. Everybody knows somebody like that. But imagine that person with all that's good in life ripped from them and then don't feed them nothing for a month.
Oh, yeah. It changes them.
See what kind of vicious animal they turn into.
Yeah.
We're all headed there.
Yeah. Well, Steve, that's all the time I have, bud. We're going to have you back on the show here soon, and that way we could go in more depth.
Too much to talk about. They call you, and we're like ahead of time, and we'll get on. I bounced around so much that I feel like, you know, we could have probably covered some things better, but I don't know. There's just so much to talk about, and it's sick.
Well, I've had a lot of guests on that. It's just been so much that I'm like, yeah, we're going to have you back on in a few months, so that way we can do it.
Where do you get your accent from? Where are you at, in Kentucky?
No, I'm in Virginia.
You're in Virginia? Yeah, we've got family in Black Shoe, Georgia.
Now I've been all over the country. I used to drive a tractor trailer across country, and I've been to every state in the United States except Hawaii and Alaska.
Yeah. So how many people you got listening to the show tonight, you think?
Normally we have about 500, 700 people.
Right on. And you decided to have any calls tonight?
No one's called in. And if they had, sometimes? Sometimes I get one or two call in, and sometimes they'll ask a stupid question. And instead of it being a good question, it's like,
right.
So how long is your hair? It's like, oh man, don't waste somebody's time with that shit. Yeah, come on.
Right, that's a crazy question when you ask me about my hair. I posted those crop circles, some really amazing artwork, and had people ask me, well, why did they put the crop circle in the corner of the field? And I'm like, my God, dude, all that I wrote, that picture, and that's all you come out of it is you want to complain about the placement of where it is in the field? I'm like, but every once in a while I'll mispunctuate or I'll misspell, and the whole point of what I have to say is ruined because somebody, they're not getting substance of what I'm trying to say. All they see is that I misspelled something or the punctuation's wrong, and I'm like, this world is insane. You don't get the point of what I'm trying to make here. So, but yeah, I'm on InLink, and you've got the contact in there, and I suppose if anybody wants to know anything, that just you can guide them through what you know and what I've said, and it is what it is, so it's not, brother.
I sure will, but I'll post up the links and everything, the pictures and everything like you sent me, which I've done, before the show, and I'll do it after the show too. But we're out of time, and Steve, like I said, it's been an honor to learn from you and to listen to you, what you're talking about because it's always fascinated me. Anytime I learn something, it fascinates the shit out of me.
Well, it's ancient technology, and don't let nobody feed you an alien concept. The internet is uncensored, but at the same time it is. You know what I mean? Because you just have to remember, everything that we see and everything that we hear, we're hearing and seeing for a reason. Even if we don't know what that reason is, there's a reason. Yeah, we're censored to the max. You know, the guy that wrote the book The Matrix, he was a high-ranking general. When he left the military, he wrote the book The Matrix. I mean, so that gives you something to think about. Most people don't even know that. Like Gene Roddenberry, he's from the Star Trek. He started out in the military too.
Right.
So. Yeah. All right, man. Well, I'm gonna let you go. So, huh?
Okay. Well, you have a good night, bud. And like I said, I appreciate you coming on the show. And we'll set up another time to get you on here, and we'll dive into this again.
Right. No. I don't mind talking about it. My wife can't stand it. What'd you say, ma'am?
I was telling you, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Oh, yeah, no problem. I don't mind talking about it. My wife can't stand it. She's upstairs waiting for me to be done. She's always like, what's this going to do for the world? And I'm like, if the world falls apart, I might be able to build something that we could save the kids. We'd build our own little pyramid and live within it. You never know. So,
got to take care of y'all.
Well, all right, take care.
Hey, you too. You have a good night, bud.
Yep.
Bye. Bye-bye. What do you think? I think it's a good show. I do think I got to have him back. Got to have him back on because he just I couldn't keep up. I mean, I don't know if you heard me ruffling through paper. I'm like, Jesus fuck.
I know. I got so lost.
Well, he tried to pump so much. He tried to pump so much information in so quick, and it still flowed pretty good. Well, I'm going to jump off here, Ian, and you have a good night, and I guess I'll see you tomorrow at 12, right?
Yep, as far as I know, so far.
Okay.
If anything changes, I will call you.
Okay. Well, y'all have a good night, and I'll talk to you.
Hey, night.
Okay, night. Bye-bye.
If you own a small business, it's not a question of if some hacker is going to attempt to attack your company. It's a question of when. Let cyberpolicy.com keep you safe. CyberPolicy is the first end-to-end solution that combines cyber planning, security, and insurance. With CyberPolicy, your business will be protected against cyber attacks for as little as 40 cents a day. Visit cyberpolicy.com today and get a quote in just 4 minutes. cyberpolicy.com.